Welcome to my channel.
In a house built on bloodlines, one boy was born to be forgot. The soft glow of magic began to coalesce in my palm, a familiar warmth spreading through this unfamiliar body. It was raw power, untamed but responsive, swirling with an inner light. This body, I realized, was capable of using magic. To think I'd been displaced into the rare body of someone who could wield such power felt like more than just luck. And his name was also Ian, just like mine, the one I'd carried as emperor. Was it truly a coincidence, or something more planned, more profound?
Sir Ian, I've brought your meal, Hannah said, interrupting my thoughts.
I smiled, a bit ruefully, at the sight of the modest tray she carried. This meal, simple as it was, had surely cost her a significant portion of her meager wages. I took the tray from her, the warmth of the bread a stark contrast to the cold calculation of Malin's household. I pictured the lavish feast I'd attended, the rich dishes laid out for Lord Malin and his guests, and a thought struck me. Even at that grand feast, they hadn't known about gyula. Gyula, a plant rich in nutrients, was a staple food in Barial in my time, though before its processing secret was discovered, its poisonous seeds meant it was mostly treated as a weed. The knowledge of how to handle gyula wouldn't be found for another 50 years in this era, but if I were to spread that knowledge now, I thought about what that would mean. It would be possible to erase Barial's history of famine entirely. I realized the power I held simply by existing in this time. My thoughts were interrupted when Hannah brought my meal, a simple but welcome spread.
There will be a feast the day after tomorrow. Aides from the Central will be attending. Good. Your mother sent you something.
He handed me a small, finely embroidered pouch, the kind meant for expensive gifts. I took it, my brow furrowing slightly at the ornate packaging. It was certainly not the simple, functional fabric my mother would have chosen. Lord Malin turned to me, his expression unreadable, and extended the pouch. He settled back into his chair then, watching me with those pale blue eyes. I could feel his gaze on me as I stood there, still holding the pouch. The silence stretched, broken only by the distant sounds of the estate. There wasn't a flicker of genuine warmth or concern in him. It made me pity Ian's mother. I walked over to the desk, placing the pouch down, and opened it. Inside, as expected, was a letter, but beneath it lay another, much thicker document. I picked up the second document, my curiosity piqued. It was handwritten, bound, and far too official to be a personal note. A second account book, I realized, detailing taxes siphoned from the Central. Lord Malin was bolder than I'd imagined. This was the true reason Lord Malin had been summoned from the Central, not to collect an illegitimate son, but to deal with his own embezzlement. A sudden jolt of recognition passed through me, and my golden eyes flared for a moment without me even consciously willing it. Just as the golden light from my eyes flared, the lamps in the room sputtered and died, plunging us into sudden darkness.
Lord Malin's aide claimed the lights were faulty, even though they'd just been replaced, and he reached for a candle. But then Lord Malin, after a clumsy stumble, dismissed the issue, telling his aide to just pick up the papers he'd dropped.
He was clearly flustered, muttering under his breath as the morning sun streamed in, now the only light source. As the sunlight filled the room, it highlighted the ornate chandelier and the grand bookshelves, and I watched Lord Malin carefully. He picked up the small, intricately decorated pouch he'd set on his desk, the one that held the letter from my mother. He handed it to me, the expensive paper of the letter gleaming in the sunlight, a stark contrast to my mother's usual humble means. My gaze met his, and I wondered just how far this charade would go.
He then told me that the Heavenly Warrior tribe had requested a letter with my signature. Lord Malin promised to inform my personal tutor so I could simply copy whatever he wrote, making it clear he expected me to comply without question.
I simply responded, understood, maintaining my composure, though my mind was already racing with other plans. Walking away, I couldn't shake the thought, if Ian's mother was truly impoverished, why would she use such luxurious paper for a letter? This was not her doing. I read the letter again, the one from this boy's mother, instructing me to treat Chell well and to be proud of his friendship. It also mentioned a request if I ever ventured to the Great Desert, which elicited a dry, knowing laugh from me. My suspicions were indeed correct, and I knew I needed to confirm them quickly. Later that night, under a full moon, guests arrived for a feast at the estate. One greeted Lord Malin, noting it had been a week since their last meeting. Another guest, a man with a mustache, thanked Lord Malin for the invitation to the feast. Lord Malin, ever the gracious host, leaned down to kiss a lady guest's hand, inviting her to call him Mac.
The lady guest responded, asking if they should go eat.
Inside, seated at a grand table, one chatty guest remarked that the estate seemed to grow more magnificent with each visit, attributing it to their excitement for the evening. A central aide, seated near me, turned and asked what I could possibly be so curious about. I simply thought to myself, let's see how capable these people from the capital truly are, before he continued his question about food.
Lord Malin, looking pleased, chimed in, asking what type of food I might prefer.
I replied that it was always nice to have new dishes, a phrase that seemed to echo in his mind. I posed a rhetorical question to the table. Couldn't something we now consider inedible become a rare and valuable food in the future? My true thoughts were about ending hunger and how beneficial it would be if we could make use of everything nature provides. The three men at the table, Lord Malin and two central aides, stared at me, their conversation momentarily silenced by my words.
The central aide piped up, noting that I spoke similar words to the prince.
I feigned ignorance, asking him to clarify which prince he meant.
The hostile noble, who had been sitting quietly, leaned forward to clarify that they were speaking of Prince Gale Veroshian, the second prince.
I knew exactly who they meant. Prince Gale Veroshian, the one who had led an uprising of magicians, only to fail.
The central aide continued, wondering if I was one of the prince's people, and that he had a feeling we would get along, while Lord Malin pondered if he could use me. Another Central Barrel University visitor, perhaps sensing the shift in conversation, regretted how quickly the time had passed.
The hostile noble then turned to Lord Malin, asking if he could make a small request. He then asked to speak with me while we got some fresh air, which made Lord Malin question his intentions.
I was surprised, wondering why he would single me out.
The hostile noble, still nursing his eye, grumbled, asking if we were there yet.
The central aide, ever polite, assured him we were almost at our destination. Then, looking at me, he offered a quick break if the walk was proving too tiring. He suggested Chell and I go on ahead to a nearby bench, and that he would follow shortly. Lord Malin, with a wide, unsettling smile, agreed, telling us to go on first. As Chell and I walked, the central aide called out my name, his tone suddenly serious as he brought up my eyes turning gold that last time. He turned to me, his question direct. Was I a magic user?
I just smiled, feigning ignorance, and said I wasn't sure what he was talking about.
He simply stated that magicians were incredibly rare.
His gaze was sharp, probing, and I could feel the weight of his unasked questions. I held his gaze, a quiet challenge in my own. I knew he wasn't done, that there were more things he wanted to ask me.
I asked him plainly if he was here to investigate Malin's false accounting, because I knew he was interested in something else from me.
The central aide simply smiled and proposed we make a deal.
I offered the central aide a deal of my own, my smile a carefully constructed mask.
The central aide, intrigued, asked if I would bring him Lord Malin's second ledger, wondering what he would gain.
I merely smiled, pointing out that tax evasion was a serious crime, and he might get caught up in it too.
He then proposed that if he opposed my adoption, I wouldn't have to worry about the Malin family's schemes.
But that wasn't what I wanted at all. I needed a way to protect myself from the imperial palace and gain ownership of territory. My plan was to go to the Heavenly Warrior clan without being officially registered into the Malin family.
A vision of sun-baked mountains and distant lands filled my mind as I considered my next move.
Aligning with the Heavenly Warrior clan, who had no love for either the Malin family or the imperial palace, would ensure my safety and make them easier to win over. They were a powerful warrior clan, an excellent card to play, since the central aide clearly wasn't going to protect my mother and me.
The central aide seemed flustered, clearly not expecting my response.
I decided to let him go, sensing he needed time to process my refusal and new terms.
With a slight bow, I watched him leave, the moonlit waters reflecting my quiet resolve. With my terms set, I dismissed the central aide. He turned and began to leave, his back to the elegant architecture of Lord Malin's estate. I watched him go, the night air cool against my face, my thoughts already moving to the next steps. Given my current status, I couldn't even set foot in the imperial palace, so I had to seize this opportunity and use the second ledger to bring about the downfall of the Malin family. By doing so, I would ensure Lord Malin's household became mine, a crucial step in my larger plan. But first, I needed strong backing, an alliance with the Heavenly Warrior clan. I smiled faintly. The path ahead was clear, if fraught with peril. The moon cast shimmering reflections across the water below, mirroring the intricate schemes unfolding in my mind. Suddenly, a movement caught my eye. A cloaked figure was approaching, slipping through the shadows. My eyes narrowed, recognizing the familiar emerald green beneath the hood. It was my mother, clutching a vibrant bouquet of red lilies, her expression etched with worry. Hannah, the maid, had done her part, arranging this secret meeting just as I'd asked. My hand instinctively went to the hilt of my sword, a phantom grip around a weapon I no longer wielded, my guard still up despite the familiar face.
"Ah," she began, her voice a soft sigh in the night. She looked at me, her green eyes welling with tears. "Ian. Ian, my child," she murmured, holding the potted lilies out to me, her voice trembling with emotion. She then explained that Hannah had told her to meet me here, commenting on Hannah's usual energy.
She reached out, gently cupping my cheek, and told me she had received the things I'd sent her.
"I'm sorry I haven't been," her words trailed off, a silent apology hanging in the air. "By the way," she started, then hesitated, a question in her expression as she gestured to the small bag she held. She opened the bag, revealing a cascade of gold coins, and asked if I could have them.
I knelt before her, taking the bag of coins and the lilies, telling her she should take the money instead.
"Ian," she said, her hand resting on the bag of coins I now held. Sending you to that house has been so painful for me." She said if it was too hard, I should just run away. Then she gasped, her eyes wide on mine, saying, "Ian, your eyes." I took her hand and promised I would respect her wishes, even though I knew I couldn't just run.
A moment later, Hannah called out to me from the path, clearly indicating it was time to go. My mother looked down sadly, as if she knew this might be our last meeting for a while.
She then looked up, saying my name again with a renewed sense of purpose. She handed me a small pot of red lilies, reminding me it was the flower I used to care for as a child.
I smiled, holding the pot, and thanked her for bringing it to me. The next morning, the world felt a little brighter.
Chell approached me, mentioning that we both seemed to be in better shape, and that I'd even gotten Lord Mullen's permission to go to the training grounds. He praised me as the best, and asked if we were starting training that very day.
I told him the training captain would adjust our schedule as he saw fit, while the captain himself sat on a bench, seemingly oblivious. Then, to my surprise, Chell called out the training captain's name.
The training captain, looking rather startled, stepped forward and asked Chell what brought him there.
Chell bristled, asking if the captain meant he'd never shown up before, reminding him that as the Count's successor, he could visit the training grounds whenever he pleased. He then added, with a huffy HMPH, that he needed to train a bit, emphasizing his need to defend himself even if his guard was drunk.
The training captain bowed slightly, telling Chell to follow him, as if showing him around was no trouble at all. He gestured around the open grounds, pointing out the warehouse and the break room behind it, starting to explain where they slept.
Just then, a sharp crack echoed through the air as a whip snapped.
"Keep your head down properly," the training captain barked at the trainees on the ground. "Do a proper job of it, will you? You want to starve." He turned back to Chell and me, explaining they were orphans, and wondering aloud if I would have been among them if I hadn't been so lucky, then asked Chell what he thought.
I noticed the hostile noble on the ground, whom I'd seen earlier, and felt a familiar tension tighten in my chest.
Chell, however, was looking at someone else, remarking that everyone else was exhausted, but one person remained standing.
"Ah, that kid," the training captain said. "He's Barik, he's a real headache."
That was the chapter. Subscribe for the next part of his rise.